Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
2 teenagers arrested and charged in connection with a hit-and-run crash that killed a 13-year-old girl in Walled Lake. Thanks for being with us here at 6. I'm Kimberly Gill.
Good evening. I'm Karen Drew in for Devin Skillion. Police say the 15-year-old driver was fleeing from officers when he blew through the light at Pontiac Trail in West Maple, causing a deadly crash that killed Piper Carruthers. In the passenger seat, 19-year-old Gavin Kassab. Both teens now facing felony fleeing and eluding charges. Megan Woods is live with the latest on this investigation tonight and how the victim's family is reacting. Megan?
Karen, we reached out to Piper's family. Her mother and sister were badly hurt. Now, they didn't want to go on camera, but the father says that they're just taking time really to absorb what all is going on, what's happening right now. We did speak to the sheriff, who says that it took time to put together this case, but the important thing right now is accountability.
It was such an easily preventable tragedy. All I had to do was stop.
Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard describes this scene as horrific, forever altering lives.
They ran and, tried to get away and tried to not be held accountable for their actions. And so on so many levels, they layered upon layered wrongdoing.
And now they are in the process of being held accountable. The driver, a 15-year-old from West Bloomfield, was arrested today on multiple charges. His name is being withheld because he's a juvenile. The passenger is 19-year-old Gavin Anthony Kassab. He is facing the same fleeing charges as the driver. Sheriff Bouchard says it took a lot of work to find them, but is proud of his team for doing so.
We had to, through evidence, put them at the scene and put them in the correct positions in the car that they were at the time of the crash. So that's important, and it's layered. We even did DNA analysis as it relates to this particular case.
And the family says they are just stunned that Gavin was able to even receive a bond, but then bonded out. Investigators are saying that he had his phone outside of that passenger window and was recording a video. And in that video, you see that he's suggesting that 15-year-old flee. So again, it's a concern of the family moving forward, but right now, they are being held accountable. He's going to be back in court later this month. Back to you.
So, Megan, considering that this was a 15-year-old driving, did he even have a learner's permit?
No. That's the sad part about it, that he didn't have a driver's license and he didn't have a learner's permit.
So much to this case. All right, Megan, we appreciate it. Thank you. By the way, there are new developments in a different hit and run involving a child. Police say the driver who injured a 7-year-old girl in Chesterfield Township last month has been identified. We're told it's a 28-year-old man from New Haven, and he is cooperating with police. The girl was hit last month while crossing the street near 23 Mile in Gratiot. Her injuries are serious, but police say she is expected to be okay. Criminal charges are expected next week.
A key court ruling is handed down, paving the way for families of the Oxford High School shooting victims to sue some school staff members. You may remember back in March, an Oakland County judge dismissed all Oxford employees from civil lawsuits citing governmental immunity. But today, a federal judge ruled the Oxford School District, the former dean of students, and a counselor can all be sued over the deadly shootings. The judge found those employees may have contributed to the dangerous conditions that ended with the shooting. All other Oxford school officials were dismissed, including 2 former superintendents, a former principal, and 3 teachers. Several lawsuits have been filed claiming the district did not protect the students.
A Detroit family will be spending Mother's Day mourning the loss, but also celebrating the life of a woman killed in a house fire this morning. Sean Lay is live with more on who Dolores Dakers was and how she's being remembered. Sean?
Beautiful 79-year-old spent some time with Dolores Dakers' family today, and they're really remarkable, focusing on the good times they've had with her, not so much focusing on this morning's tragedy.
She was funny. She loved family. She cared about people.
Right now, on Mother's Day weekend, the unthinkable for Melvin Dakers. His 79-year-old mother, Dolores, did not make it out of her home here on Algonquin on Detroit's east side just after 5 this morning. He knows that his mom was on the phone reporting the fire to her security company, but doesn't know why she could not get out of her home in time. Dakers rushed to his mother's home, and it was already too late. He says it appears his mother was moving towards the fire that he says looks like started in what he's calling a utility room instead of moving towards the front door. This son says Dolores Dakers loved her native Jamaica, loved cooking Jamaican food for family. Melvin and his wife Dana are choosing to remember all of the good and not focus on losing her today.
It's the kind of thing where you deal with the memories, right? I mean, mom is, a mom's love goes beyond and forever. So it's not the kind of thing that, is all sadness, because we definitely have a lot of the good things to hold on to.
Good things to hold on to, a mother's love. It goes on and on and on. Sad scene out there, but good perspective from this family. Meantime, we saw Detroit Fire out there. Of course, check with them. Karen, the fire remains under investigation. Still no cause at this time. We're live tonight. Sean Lay, Local 4.
Thinking about that family tonight for sure. All right, thank you, Sean.
Well, friends, family members, and leaders are reacting to the death of Oakland County's top health official. Dr. Calandra Green was the health officer for Oakland County. Yesterday, Green and her husband were found shot to death in their Pontiac home in what police are calling a murder-suicide. Today, we spoke with people who knew Calandra as a pillar of her community.
I would just call her Dr. Calandra and just remind her we're looking forward to Women's Day, and that beautiful smile would light up, would come on her face. And she said, I'm excited too.
The fact that she was murdered, frankly, leaves me really angry. On top of the grief and the sadness and the shock that I feel, I'm just really angry.
A motive in that shooting remains under investigation.
Well, a judge is making sure a suspected drug dealer stays behind bars after his arrest by Warren police. Bond for Deontay Carson is set at $1 million. And that's because the Macomb County prosecutor says Carson sold fentanyl and other drugs at several places in Warren. He was taken into custody after selling to undercover officers. At Carson's residence, police say they found all of this: a full kilogram of fentanyl, 200 grams of cocaine, a sawed-off shotgun, a stolen assault rifle, 3 other guns, and equipment for making false IDs. Carson pled not guilty today to 3 felony drug charges and 3 felony gun charges.
All right, the battle over a car repair that dragged on for almost a year has finally wrapped up thanks to Help Me Hank, a local elderly couple stuck without a car as they waited for the repair. Now the work is finally wrapping up. Consumer investigator Hank Winchester is live. Hank, many people have been dealing with service delays, this type of thing, but this one really stood out.
Yeah, Kimberly, we get it right now. There's still a lot of dealerships that are still dealing with pandemic-related issues, getting parts in stock, right? But this particular issue, well, this was just a little bit too much. Take a look. This is the car, a 2014 Dodge Dart that was missing a key part for almost a year. Today, the vehicle not only ready to roll, but better than it was when it rolled in.
You guys were a big help. Seriously, I don't think if you guys were involved in this, I'd probably still be calling them, asking them, hey, when is the part coming in?
The Dodge was first brought into the Suburban dealership in Farmington Hills last June. The car needed a new shifter and some other upgrades, but the search for parts unsuccessful, so the vehicle sat here on the lot for months. Diane and her husband paid big money for a rental car, and as this dragged on and they didn't have access to a vehicle, they actually bought a car waiting for this one to be fixed.
I'd call and call, never get any response back.
You can imagine how frustrating this process was for this family, so I started making phone calls and I spoke with the new manager at Suburban. Hours after we spoke, he located a part across the country. He had that shipped overnight to Farmington Hills. The repair was made, and that is not all. The brakes and pads upgraded since the car had been sitting there so long, and Stellantis stepped up, covering some of the costs associated with the wait and the repair.
After you guys had left, I had the dealer call, the people from Stellantis, and I thought, wow, it's really moving now.
Hey, we love to help when we can. A big thank you, though, to the team at Suburban and Farmington Hills for getting this going so quickly. If you find yourself in a situation like this one, you have to work to stay on top of it. Stay in touch with the dealer, with the repair shop as much as you can. Also, consider the idea of a used part. That, in many cases, will help jump you up the line and get that repair done once and for all. We're live here tonight. Hank Winchester, help me, Hank. Local 4.
Glad they finally got it worked out. Hank, we appreciate it.
All right, it was a gorgeous day out there, and we've got a pretty nice weekend on tap.
Yeah, not too bad. Let's get over to Kim Adams.
Well, we have just a little bit of light rain still on Exact Track 40 radar, so I want to do some street level mapping in case you do have some outdoor plans. You'll just want to know about it. In Hamtramck, we're getting light to moderate rain right now, also in parts of Ferndale. It's still dry, though, in the city of Detroit. They're just getting ready. What time is it? 10 after 6. They're just getting ready to do pink out at the park for the Tigers game. There could be a sprinkle, but it looks like there'll be no heavy rain or anything like that that would delay the game. Grosse Pointe Woods and the Farms both dry, also Roseville and Fraser. But as we go to the west side, we're still seeing some sprinkles or light rain in Farmington Hills and also Northville and Livonia. Now, any rain that we get overnight tonight should be done by the early morning hours tomorrow. There could just be a brief sprinkle at 8 a.m., but by the time we get to the afternoon, nice and dry with temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. You can always go to the Forewarn Weather app to time out hour by hour the chances for rain we get each and every day. Just go to the any app, your favorite app store, and type in WDIV and download the Forewarn Weather app.